It finally stopped raining here. It's around 2:30 in the afternoon, and I thought I would make a video kind of explaining more context of how we came about to film in this room instead of my old room, and what even happened to my old channel and why you have to watch on this new channel. So toward the end of my time on my old channel, people were crossing boundaries, viewers were crossing boundaries that people had just literally never crossed before in all of the time that I'd been on YouTube. And I'd created some really vulnerable stuff and some really like detailed stuff about personal things about my life. And so like I didn't really see like a real difference in the uptick of like why this was happening. Because toward the end of my YouTube channel, I created a series about my dating, and maybe it just happened to do with like the types of people that were finding me at the end were just real problematic, and or they were just more bold in the fact that they were weird. You know, some people can keep their weird to themselves and like it doesn't really affect me. Well, this was affecting me in a very negative way. So I took down all of my videos. And maybe if I have a Patreon, on a side note, some people have told me if I wanted to make videos about more personal aspects of myself, again, still, I should put it behind a wall of Patreon. That way, like, the general public can, you know, consume the content that I normally make, and that can be for free, obviously. But also, if I wanted to kind of go deep dive into something more private, it can be kept a little bit more safe behind the Patreon wall. And basically, I don't know if I would do that, only because I never really want to make money from you guys, but I would literally just charge like the lowest you could possibly charge. Because it's like a little bit less complicated to do it there, and like the community aspect is a little bit better. It's like, you know, all in one, and it's kind of public, versus me sharing private links to videos with a certain number of people. And that's kind of how I'm doing it right now. And I don't really have the community aspect because it's kind of like all individualized. I literally have a direct message from someone who wants to watch my old content, and I've already made playlists that are shareable with direct links to give them permission to access those videos. And so, you know, like the whole community aspect would be there on Patreon, and that would be like another reason why I would do Patreon. But I'm kind of like still against it because I never really want to make money off of you guys, and I would feel badly about that. Sometimes what would help the most, or I find most enjoyable to make, or I find, you know, something, a really great topic, might not be really smart for me to share the details of on a public video. It's just not, you know, it's not smart. So I learned that from my last channel, and I learned that because people were able to access it whenever they wanted, and just kind of like, I don't know, it's hard to explain without explaining it, but basically there was 3 or 4 separate people. There were males and females involved, and they were all like just, the thing that they had in common was that they didn't understand boundaries. I had one person who thought it was okay in order to contact me at all times of the night or whatever, just all the time, through Instagram, and after like very clear signs of me not wanting to talk, like I was trying to be like nice in the beginning, and then I try to suss out their like normalness, and then once I decided that like ignoring them might be a little bit unsafe for me because they're a little bit, you know, I've assessed that they're not stable, I didn't really know what to do with that. Once you're kind of in that weird limbo of like, I really want to get rid of them and I don't really want to like interact with them anymore because some like red flags have gone off that like this might not end well for me. and like the opposite of that end would be like poking, you know, not wanting to like poke the bear. Like I want to keep them complacent and just, you know, kind of happy and giving them what they want because I'm a people pleaser. But it's also like, this is really affecting me because I don't want to interact with them anymore, and it's weird, and I don't enjoy it, and like I'm kind of scared of what they might do. And then they bought from me on my way that I make my money. And so then they had my address, and it was just like this whole mess for me emotionally, because I'm like, I don't want somebody who seems to be kind of not stable and not normal and not interacting with me typically like my normal viewers would. I don't want them to have that much like power over me, that they know where I live, that they know certain things about me, and I don't know anything about them. I just know that they're kind of creepy, and they won't kind of like stop talking with me about creepy things. And so it got to be like, it got to be a hindrance. It got to be too much like public versus private. And I've had people buy from my store before, and it was completely normal, and I felt very safe about it, and like it wasn't a problem. So it's not the fact that people bought from me, it's like everything combined made me unhappy with all that. And then finally I just kind of like, you know what, this is the final straw, and I'm just like taking back everything. So like I don't have a very healthy, like, I guess, way to enforce my boundaries, or I didn't then. I'm not so sure, I'm different now, but that's what I did then. So the taking back of the channel and like removing everything was just kind of a way for me to stop those people. But the other people that were kind of bothering me were also people that were pretending to be me, and that was kind of weird for me, because I would go on my Instagram, and I understand fan accounts, and I understand like when you're famous, and I understand like I understand that there was like no malice behind it, but it's just weird to me. I understand that, so it felt weird to me because I'm not famous. It felt weird to me because I'm just like a normal person, and I didn't really have a lot of people watching me, and it felt weird. It felt kind of violating, and not in like, oh, that's so nice that they did that. It felt like, why are you stealing my pictures and like making your own captions and pretending like my profile is your profile picture? Like I don't understand that. That's like super flattering, but I don't understand that, and I don't get that from a me point of view. I don't get that. And so that was happening around that same time. And then there was a woman whom was contacting me. She just like barged into my life and sent me a direct message on my Instagram, and she had contacted me because she explained to me that she was a person who was big into I forget what they're called. It's not like a soothsayer. It's like a person who like sees into the future, but like uses like what's that called? When like there's a missing person and you contact this a psychic. She was some type of something to do with that, and she said that she had a lot of bad vibes about my life, and she explained her reasoning, and she even understood that she was doing this without my permission to kind of like open this door. And for like, I do tarot with my friends, and so like I'm not like spiritual that way, but I do have a little bit of understanding that there are things that I can't explain, and sometimes they're best explained through stuff like this, like coincidence and understanding. And like I'm interested in that, but I don't like fully put all of my faith into like, oh, here's a psychic I call up, you know, every week, and like I totally depend on what they say for what I'm gonna do with my life. My exposure to that is like, I'm aware, and I'm aware that it might be kind of real but kind of not, and so like I'm, you know, that's where I am with that. But so it did bother me. It bothered me a lot. Number one, because there's an etiquette problem with that, or like a moral issue problem with that. If you're a person who has experience with kind of giving people details about their lives, because you're a psychic and that's for real, you're actually true, you should know that there's a point in time where like maybe the things that you're going to say impact the person in a negative way, and you should leave it up to the person in order to come find you, right? Like you shouldn't just be like, well, I had a vision and this person has like, you know, this amount of problems and like this stuff is like not great in their lives and like just negative stuff. It's not like she contacted me and she's just like, I see some really great stuff in your future. It was like she contacted me and she just barged into my life, and she basically asserted her authority with her psychic stuff, and kind of was just like, you know, well, I know best for you, blah blah blah. And to me that just read wrong. I would never do that to somebody if I had those skills, and if I don't have those skills, I would never pretend that I did and go around contacting people that I thought that I knew from the internet. Like that would not ever be something that would occur to me to do. So all of these things were happening toward the end of my YouTube channel, and I literally just wanted to make them stop. I didn't want people stealing my stuff. I didn't want people contacting me on all different times of the night and telling me about some weird stuff about their life, and then like buying from my store and like getting my address. Like I did block these people, and I did try to block the people that were buying from my store, and they would just find my other stores, right? So like it's like, oh, whack-a-mole. So I felt like overwhelmed, and I also just lived in a place that wasn't like in like safe environment anyways. There was a lot of junkies. It was very close to the light rail. There was a lot of people that were on the fringe of society that were kind of just like roaming on the sidewalks right outside my door, outside my window, that was on the back end of the building. And it was just, it felt all not great, because I didn't really have someone to like physically kind of help me if people showed up at my door. And it wasn't like I could really understand the level to which these people would just kind of be like, okay, well, this is a real boundary, instead of like, these are pretend boundaries and I'm just gonna like, you know, talk to Michelle through the internet and just kind of do what I want to do, because it doesn't really matter because it's through the internet. It's not really bothering her. But it bothered me a lot, and it really upset me. It kept me up at night because I felt like unsafe in my own place. I felt like a sitting duck waiting to be murdered from people that were just kind of like not well. And maybe they are completely fine and well in the head, and the things that they were trying to do were actually, you know, they had positive, good intentions, but it didn't feel like that to me. Everything is about perception, and it felt really not great, and it felt scary. So I did what I thought was best, and I was just like, you know, this isn't really, it's not helping me, it's hurting me. And so I'm just gonna take all of my content off the internet, because they were literally going back through like my old videos and like commenting on really old videos, or like gaining more, I don't know, the more interaction they had with like the content, the more bold they would be the next time they would contact me and just be weird. So I don't know how to explain how, you know, any better than this, but that was basically why. It was at the same time that this was going on. It was just like, it wasn't worth it to do. And I needed to transition to my new life, and I needed space and time to do that. And I was just, this was sucking up a lot of mental space, and I was, you know, I didn't really want to be scared in my own place. So that was what was happening. People were just being stalkery and weird, and people were just being upsetting and kind of weird. And then I don't really know how to say or what to say about the people that were stealing my pictures and using my pictures as their Instagram posts, but like my personal pictures, like my selfies and stuff, like making new captions for them, like just weird. So anyways, I get all that if I was famous, like it kind of comes par for the course. but those people have like safety things in place, and I don't, and resources to kind of, you know, fix that if things go awry. And that's kind of like normal-ish. Like, you kind of expect that. Like, if like a celebrity had explained what I just explained, you'd be like, wow, that's it, you know? Like, I have a person like following me around every time I leave my house. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the level to which I experienced it was at least still like in virtual reality. Like, it impacted me because like it was starting to come into my real life, like my real physical life. But yeah, so that is why I wanted everything to stop, because it wasn't my normal experience from when I had my channel before. So why am I explaining that all to you? I'm explaining that all to you, number one, for understanding where my videos went and why my videos went away, but also because moving forward I'm gonna be way more vague about certain things, and it's not to like pique curiosity, it's to like be safe. So I won't explain where I live. I won't explain like even the state in which I live. So if you know, just please keep it to yourself, because you never know who will do things that are weird. But I feel much safer here. I moved back across the country, and that was a whole thing. But I wanted to explain the hows and the whys of why this channel came to be. And you're like, well, if you had that bad of an experience, why would you even make videos again? It's because, like, if I just got smarter at the kind of content that I made and just like, you know, left out some things, I could just feel kind of good and safe about, you know, what I was doing. If I just protected a little bit and enforced some boundaries, then I could do what I wanted to do the whole entire time and not just be so reactionary and just pull the rug out from everybody. And, you know, I could still do what I wanted, but just do it smarter. And so this is, you know, my attempt at that, basically. I think it is worth it to put up with the few things that might happen or whatever. I'm not scared anymore. I have different tools and resources and options available to me now that I didn't have when I was alone in the desert. So even if things start to happen again, I'm better equipped with it, and my life is not as stressful as it was because I've already transitioned to a safer place, like environmentally wise. Like, I'm not scared to sleep with my windows open here. In fact, I can. And so like that kind of things are different, basically. I wanted to kind of explain that things are different, and I'm more ready for things that could happen if they do happen, and I'm way more smart in how I deliver my message so that my protection is still my protection. So I understand curiosity, but there's just certain things that I'm not going to explain publicly, but there's a ton of stuff that I am willing to explain. And I don't even think that you expect me to give you certain things, but I just wanted to explain to a person who's just walking in basically off the street to my content, like, hey, why are you never ever specifically saying certain places about where you even live, or like whatever, what's up with all that? This is what's up with all that. I learned that's probably not good. And I'm just really happy that nothing bad did happen, and it was just a stressful thing, and so it's just that a mental kind of trauma instead of like a physical and mental trauma at the same time, if like something actually happened. But it's still really difficult to deal with, and it's like, how, if something does happen, what do we even do? Like, calling the police about like people that steal your pictures on the internet, can't really do that. That's kind of stupid. Like calling the police about people who like randomly show up on your doorstep that just want to talk to you because you think that they're friends, like that didn't happen, but I could see that happening. It was coming kind of like in that direction, and like I don't want to be scared that like that would happen. So I just want to live my life and kind of like help people, or you know, and be enjoyable in a community that of like-minded people. And basically that's my needs and wants from making YouTube videos. It's not to like, I don't know, share my life for the purpose of just sharing my life. Like, that's, I don't need to do that. So anyways, that is the how and why of why I'm going to deliver certain aspects of my content the way that I am. So I guess the next video will be like what the transition of my experience was like, and the things that I'm working on now, what I find difficult and what I didn't find difficult, how certain things are impacting my life. Like, I have a whole bunch of different ideas or like topics to talk about, but I knew I needed to kind of like get this kind of major topic out of the way, just because it's like the elephant in the room, and like it just feels better to air it out anyways. But yeah, like moving forward, we'll probably talk about the whole Patreon thing again, depending upon how big this community gets. But for right now, I'm not gonna do that type of content, just because like I'm not trying to have like public videos and then ones that are like very like kind of juicy, hidden behind a payment wall. Like, I'm just gonna try to have a community with you, and then eventually, if it comes to like, here's some requests from certain people, and I feel like that would be better on Patreon, and there's enough interest in Patreon, then do it that way. And so I guess we'll revisit it then. But that is my thinking on that, and that is how I'm thinking about that. So like, for example, I would not put like a tour of my apartment, and so you'll probably always see just like one little area of my new apartment. I probably wouldn't put a tour of my apartment on for public viewing, but I would do that on Patreon because it's more private. So I would also not talk about the specifics of really what happened with these people, because I did give some specifics, but there's way more detail that I could go into about the types of things that they did that scared me, that was kind of like red flaggy. Like, I would never talk about that beyond what I already did, but I would talk about that behind the Patreon. Like, I would feel more comfortable doing that, just so it wouldn't be public. And yeah, so those are the types of things that I would like have publicly and then have privately. Again, if you wanted to watch my old videos and you didn't know anything about how to access them, just direct message me on Instagram and basically ask for the types of kind of content that you want to watch, and there are playlists that I have, like I mentioned, and I can send you those types if you only want a certain few, or just really like to watch, you know, just the makeup tutorials or whatever. I have a playlist just for that, and you don't have to like sort through the other stuff. But if you want more of a like a generalized, here like a little bit of everything, then there's several playlists that I could send to you, and you could have more access, and you could just, you know, watch as far as you wanted for whatever. So that is how I'm going to do it, just to kind of control my old content a little bit, instead of just opening it free for everybody again, because it was really creating problems for my life. And while I'm more equipped now to deal with it, it's just kind of like easier to be like, that was the past, this is now, and let's, you know, move on. So algorithm wise as well, that channel was all screwed up, and I stopped and started a lot of different times, and it was just very frustrating for me as a creator to be stuck in the throttle of the YouTube algorithm. So I'm just going to start this channel, and it can have its own inertia and its own fresh metadata and everything. So that is another reason why it's separate from the old channel. So hopefully that explains everything. If you have any questions, let me know, and I will see you guys in my next video.